president and his administration in efforts to save Social Security and help save recipients. But with the recession looming, many say it's a bad idea. As with the Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund depletion it faces 2023 reports, the president has suggested that some are calling for a sweeping 4-point plan to bolster funds in the trust. The plan would also help the $22 trillion funding shortage shown in the 2023 Trustees Report if the federal government cannot fix the shortage. It could result in benefits cutting up to 24% of retirees beginning in 2033, while some of Biden's proposed changes will affect the high earners and company executives. Those who have retirement savings plan on potentially hiring than the average American. Some will affect the middle and low-income wage earners. Analysts have also noted that it will especially affect those who may rely on Social Security benefits in the future. Currently, any earned income below $160,000 is subject to a payroll tax. Earnings exceeding that amount are not subject to any taxes. Biden plans to tax the earned income above $400,000, leaving wages above $160,000 up to $400,000 untaxed. Each year, Social Security benefits are addressed and based on inflation adjusted through a cost of living allowance. Currently, the administration uses this to calculate the COLA, but this doesn't necessarily reflect the lifestyle and expenses of retired people. Shifting COLA calculations to figures tied to the Consumer Price Index for the elderly won't even solve the problem for Social Security running out of money. It could just put more money into the pockets of retired Americans who need it the most. The Primary Insurance Trust Fund is an amount indicating that how much Americans will receive in Social Security benefits. It all depends on your age, when you began claiming benefits, and your average index monthly earnings. Increasing the primary insurance amount for Americans ages 72 to 82 would help those experiencing and also healthcare. The low-wage earners receive a special minimum benefit regardless of how much they made while they worked. In 2023, a lifetime low working earner would receive $12,000 in Social Security benefits or $1,000 a month. Biden intends to increase the minimum benefit to 125% of the federal poverty level for an individual. An example in 2023 is someone receiving a special minimum benefit will receive $1,500 per month with the boost. However, any Social Security overall plan would require the bipartisan support in Washington, and so far Democrats and Republicans haven't been able to see eye to eye in some ways. But fears of a recession have mounted since the Federal Reserve began hiking interest rates in early 2022. Because according to a chief of economists, although the latest gross domestic product figures indicated growth, a recession could still be imminent. With rampant inflation, Americans are grappling with wages that struggle to keep up with the rising cost of living and things like this. But just about 28% of people say they approve of a fourth stimulus check.
We've all seen content creators.
Do you agree with this, everybody? Tell me in the comments down below. So will you be receiving a stimulus check this month? I know that's the question that many of you want to be answered. Listen to this. You are eligible to receive more stimulus checks from a new federal program. This is really great because it's going to help so many people that are financially struggling due to the crisis. So remember folks, on this channel, I always do my very best in providing you with the most up-to-date and reliable stimulus check and Social Security news. So it really means a lot to me if you could subscribe to the channel.
An executive order to ensure that the federal government puts you, the American people, at the front of the line and for first in everything we do. I'm directing 17 agencies here to focus on more than 30 key areas to make
credit challenges. Tell me how you see, one, how I can assure my Kansans that and Americans that things are going to be better, and two, how can I assure farmers and ranchers that their future will be brighter based upon the activities of the Federal Reserve?
So I take the sort of very low confidence readings that we're reading about and your comments about Kansas citizens as being pretty directly related to high inflation. And I think people haven't seen it. You know, most people, you and I are.
The value of each claim is $2,000. Last year, about $4 billion in property tax was returned to the rightful owners. While each state has its own rules that govern the process of claiming the property, you can count on being required to prove that you are the rightful owner. For example, providing documents confirming your identity. States often try to locate people as well, for instance, matching the owner's information to a tax return. And according to officials, state treasuries get new unclaimed property turned over to them every single day. Officials are encouraging people to check their They're missing money in a national cleaning house for unclaimed assets, and most people are participating in this. The IRS may have some extra money for you, and the tax agency has announced that more than $500 million in outstanding refunds remain unclaimed for the 2019 tax. The agency estimates that more than 1.5 million taxpayers might have qualified for a refund but did not file a federal income tax return for the 2019 tax year. If you were due a refund, you must file a federal income tax return to get your money. Things are a little bit different this year. You have more time than usual to claim the 2019 refund. That's because the normal filing deadline to claim refunds is typically around the April tax deadline. But the filing deadline, everybody, for 2019 tax returns wasn't normal at all. It was postponed to July 15th due to the crisis. The IRS estimates the midpoint for the potential unclaimed refunds for 2019 to be $893. That means half of the refunds are more than $893 and half are less.
Tonight, money is on the way to millions of Californians to help ease the pain of inflation. The stimulus payments are part of the state budget deal just announced last night. The checks are designed as tax refunds. Families could receive up to $1,050 through direct deposits and debit cards. APIX5's Lauren Toms breaks down how it works and spoke to Bay Area families about whether it will actually help.
Barring a refining disruption, I'm hopeful we can get to $3.49 between Halloween and Thanksgiving. He also added that there's an outside chance the national average reaches a low of $3.29. There's no major hurricane in the Gulf Coast or more refinery outages. However, analysts also warned the decline could slow temporarily and even turn higher in some areas like California and the Midwest. Prices were already rising recently in those areas as well. The least expensive states for gas are in the South. Drivers are paying an average of $3.26 for a gallon of gas in Texas and Arkansas, and some states continue to see much higher prices like California, where the average is $5.26 a gallon, and Nevada at $4.84. The U.S. exported nearly 10 million barrels of oil and refined products last week, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Exports of gas totaled 1 million barrels a day for the week. Everybody, Joe Biden's new Inflation Act is now offering up to $14,000 in additional financial assistance to many low-income families. There are over 70 Democratic lawmakers that are urging Congress to step up to the plate and pass legislation that would actually prevent a government shutdown. Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act on climate change is helping many Americans reduce their carbon footprint. A key element in that push is offering up to $14,000 in rebates and tax credits for people to make their homes more energy efficient. Those benefits can be used to lower the cost of home upgrades, ranging from installing heat pumps to buying new electric purchases, and like stoves and dryers. About 40% of carbon emissions stems from buildings, and so these incentives can actually help the U.S. achieve its goal of lowering fossil fuel emissions. According to experts, this gives people some very concrete and generous incentives to do that, both in the form of tax credits and direct cash rebates. CBS News has said that it is the biggest federal investment in buildings ever, at least one that is specified for climate change. There are two separate rebate programs. The Homes Rebate Program provides more than $4 billion in states to help residents make their entire home more energy efficient, and the program provides rebate based on the energy savings they upgrade their home in. And now, for instance, homeowners that make changes that cut their energy usage by at least 35% can get up to $4,000 in rebates. That amount is doubled for low and middle income households who can get $8,000 in rebates. High efficiency